Let's play a game of how many paranormal activities can you spot in this 3-minute clip. Posted to TikTok by Paranormal Replay, we see a mother and her 2 children asleep when a string of paranormal events disturbs them. In the beginning, the mother seems to be very familiar with these poltergeist activities around her. It turns from subtly annoying to downright frightening as the activities progress. Ready to count? Let's see. The mother is awoken to sounds of a rocking horse on wheels that gently taps her leg. Instead of freaking out, she gingerly gets up and sets the horse to the side. The horse continues to move on its own as other things are seen and heard. Orbs flying, shadow figures showing themselves, sounds of things falling and being tossed. The faucet turning on, and the blender running on its own. Then the child becomes frightened as the ghostly activities become more violent as items from the shelf slam to the floor. The clip ends when we see a creepy shadow figure materialize. There are so many things that happened in one night that I'm lost for words, and there isn't any context on the uploader's channel. So, I am left to my own imaginations. Though I do want to comment on the child, which seems genuinely frightened as to what is going on. I hope, or I want to believe, that this clip was staged or part of some horror film, and the child is made aware of it. Otherwise, I would think something like this would be very traumatizing for him. And I think I counted 11 ghostly events. Creepy.
Number 2.
Uploaded to YouTube by WXYZ TV Detroit, Channel 7, in Highland, Michigan. A family is convinced that their home is haunted and that something is injuring their young daughter. There was an incident when 15-month-old Lily was in her bed. This haunting footage was captured on camera.
Whatever it is, the family says it needs to go.
It's almost like she sees something that we don't.
It's an image Heather and Josh say is haunting their home.
It was chilling. It was literally a chill down your spine, like that what if factor. Like, is this what I just saw?
Caught on the couple's nanny cam video a few weeks ago, what appears to be something moving in front of the baby crib.
I freaked out.
Slowing it down and changing the contrast slightly, we can better see the movements of this ghostly figure that walks across the baby's room.
I stopped what I was doing and I ran upstairs and I grabbed my daughter.
Heather says this so-called ghost scratched her daughter Lily and attacked her too.
It scares us that it could do something else. I mean, there was even a morning that I woke up and I had felt like something was around like someone's hands were around my neck.
A team of paranormal investigators came in and tried answering some of the couple's questions and concerns. Josh's father, Jim, says it may be someone who lived in this house before.
The story that I was told was the gentleman that lived here originally committed suicide, apparently, by jumping out this window, which is, of course, one full story down.
The couple says they don't know why this so-called ghost is targeting them, but say they don't want any part of it.
It's not physically just going after her, it feels like it's going after myself too.
I couldn't get an explanation out of it, you know. So it's freaky, is what it is.
For now, Heather and Josh say they will stay inside this place with Lily until they're able to save up enough money and move out.
So not only is it haunting the home, but it is also causing some physical harm to the family, which is terrifying. There aren't any updates on the case that I can read, but I see 2 comments in which I'd like to highlight, for you to come up with your own conclusions. Olivia Jimenez Dean says, "Honestly, this could be the mother walking by. I just purchased a nanny camera and downloaded the app on my phone. When testing the camera on my phone, which I had recorded by the way, looking at camera from the phone makes it look fuzzy and it lags. On the monitor everything looks clear and perfect. While using the app on my phone, I walked by the camera just to test the fuzziness and lag, and I saw that I was transparent. I was baffled and did it 3 times, and each time, I was transparent. You can see what I was passing by right through me before the lag caught up. I immediately remembered this video being on the news and watching it in the past. I watched it again just now, and now I believe that the mother was passing by rather quickly, which caused her to look almost see-through." While Marilyn DeFita stated, "What chills me about the video is that the baby actually gets up and looks at the image as it moved, definitely not a film trick." So what do you think? When one thinks about haunted places, they typically picture an old house, a cemetery, or some other isolated, rundown building with a murky past. However, when Hawaii, particularly the well-known island of Oahu, developed, sacred sites, old graveyards, and other significant areas were desecrated in the name of progress. Following this devastation, the island has experienced a wide range of paranormal activity, especially by the locals. Posted to YouTube by a local news station, In Hawaii, KHON2 News, they invite ghost storyteller Lopaka Kapanui to the segment, and he added just 3 of the many paranormal stories that he could share. Let's hear the stories.
The short story is we were doing a couple's ghost tour about double murdered suicides. I was standing in front of the burial mound, and somebody took this photograph where you can only see the top half of my body.
Whoa. So that was you, that orb? Is that an orb?
Well, it's actually supposed to be the reflection of the camera, the flash on my leather jacket. But I called an expert, and he took a look at the photograph. He says you can't rule out the psychic, number one. Number two, he said there's no way any of that could be photoshopped because the detail is too great. Double murder suicide tour, somebody takes a picture and only half of me shows up.
Were you creeped out by this? I know you've seen a lot, but were you creeped out by this?
I was thoroughly creeped out, but it just so happened the woman who took the picture is clairvoyant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's talk about the second place, and we've all visited Kabaiha'o Church, many of us have, and then the cemetery right next door.
Cemetery right next door has bodies that you can't even see that are still there. So even in the lane, you're stepping on some of those bodies. Again, the short version, it's Halloween. A woman takes a picture. 40 of us are yelling at her, hurry up, let's get out of the graveyard. When she develops a picture, she shows it to us the very next second, and in that picture is someone who is not there.
What?
40 eyewitnesses can back this woman up and say no one was in the lane when she took that picture, but yet it looks like there's somebody standing there in a coat and tie.
That's kind of creepy. And
It
is
is.
that an orb on the right side?
You actually have a couple of orbs, they're moving, so you know it's not dust. So there's a bunch of things going on in that photograph. Just so happens the church archivist says that Saturday during the day there was a burial where one guy became so emotionally overwhelmed he threw himself into the grave.
Oh my goodness.
And so you're actually looking at the apparition of a person who's still alive. His grief, his impression made a fingerprint on that environment. And so that's what was captured in that photograph.
And this was on Halloween, too.
Halloween night about 6 years ago.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
your third one, right?
And you know, the police, they're my best source because they have the greatest stories. But the Pali Lookout, a young man comes up to me and says, can I make an offering to the pig god Kamapua'a? And he has the tea leaf bundle. I tell my now fired assistant to go with him, let him make the offering. The assistant misunderstands what I said, which was let him put the offering down, bring him back. But he brings the boy back along with the offering. The thing has come apart. And so as they're walking back toward me, my wife takes that photograph. And if you look underneath the boy's hands, there's a green swirling mist right underneath. It reveals that he has Chinese roast pork.
Oh, no taking pork over the pulley.
That's exactly what happened. He took it over the invisible meridian where you can't bring pork on that road at the lookout. So it can come from windward to leeward. Wow. And so he kind of broke the law, and my assistant was fired that night.
So for people that, whether they have a deep belief in all this or not, if you see something you believe is real, should you be fearful of it? Should you explore it? Should you look into it and maybe try to communicate? What is your thought?
You just said the key word. If you happen to see something, that means you have a bit of clairvoyance, you're a bit psychic. And so because you see it and it senses that you have this ability, that's what's happening, communication. But depending upon what the situation is, the communication might result in scratches, bruised finger marks, or as Marissa and I discovered a few years back, voices.
Number 5.
Uploaded to Reddit by user What I Imagine. We see what I think could be some footage of a storage area and waiting room. There is no context behind the video, so we can only describe what we see, which looks to be some violent poltergeist activity. The thing to set focus on is this item on the wall here, then a chair here, and finally the file cabinet here. Initially, something gets thrown from off camera, and I'm not even sure what it is, but it was coming from the direction of the top of the lockers in the back. Then, slowing it down and zooming in, we can see the item on the wall, get violently detached and thrown to the ground. A second later, the chair as well moves in a violent manner. And finally, the file cabinet. This clip is creepy indeed. But having no context and history of the location, it makes things hard to gauge if it is real or not. I don't know how this is done because I cannot find any strings under different contrasts. There could be some mechanism in the file cabinet to project it outward, but that is all I can think of. Anyhow, I'll leave it up to you to decide. In another video, uploaded by the same user to Reddit, we see something bizarre. Let's take a look. A stray dog looks to have gotten abducted, as it dissolves into some mist-like orb into the skies. Weird. We also see it in different contrasts. I'm not sure how to explain this one. I do find this footage very bizarre, and for me it is unexplainable. Great upload. If teleportation were real, just imagine how much time we could save while traveling. And if time travel were possible, well, I think a lot of people would like that. In a third upload by Reddit user, what I imagine, we are looking through a security camera footage of an alley market in Nepal, when a boy teleports in. To me, I would think this is a camera trick. Just judging by the people's reactions surrounding the teleporter, which is no reaction at all. I think I can assume that the whole scene was edited. I don't know how, but it is another great upload that makes me wonder if it were possible to travel in time or teleport.
Number 6.
Uploaded to YouTube by Rocky Mills, we see that we are in a home that was built in the 1900s and is at the later stages of a remodeling project. The contractor, who was in the home alone, seems to have heard some unusual sounds that caused him to begin recording. His first thought was that there must have been some squatter in the home. To his terrifying surprise, it was much more sinister. Let's check it out.
Hello? 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 Anybody here? Hello? Hello? The heck is that? Hello? Who is it?
Less than a minute later, the contractor comes back to get his phone and quickly vacates the premises. And then the video ends. Wow, I've got the chills. To think it was a person making the noises, and then realizing it was paranormal, I would have reacted in the same manner. It all started when the door opened on its own, and the contractor, hearing noises from downstairs. The door then slams violently shut. Zooming in and increasing the contrast levels, we can actually see the item that was thrown.
Who is it?
And then the phone starts to move on its own, seconds later, after hearing the contractor leave the house. So creepy.
Number 7.
Some people say that children are more likely to experience ghost sightings than most adults, since they have a much higher sense of awareness. This makes them susceptible to detecting energy and occurrences that most adults miss.
Who are you talking to, baby?
So, when you see your children talking to someone that isn't really there, can you just pass it off as them having an extraordinary imagination? Or are you just telling yourself that? Uploaded to TikTok by Shocking TV Moments, a child appears to be having a conversation with someone that isn't there. When this happens, as you can see, something tried to take the container and then the lunch box from the child's hands. It really looks to me like something we cannot see is trying to take the items from the child, because of the way the child moves when the items are being pulled is very natural, like if someone was actually there, pulling them. Eerie. And in this clip, posted by Riker's Dad 2020, we see some poltergeist activity in the room, as the toddler is a bit unsettled in their bed, tossing the blanket around. Some poltergeist activity is caught on tape. It looks like a seat cushion, but I think it is something inflatable, so a strong enough fan could possibly knock it over. But it could also be ghostly. You decide. And then, in this video, uploaded to TikTok by user TerraPhantasmal, we see a child in distress. As it appears to feel something, which, judging by the child's actions, must be sinister in nature. What could have caused the child to get out of his crib and balance himself for a good 15 seconds, and then get knocked down by an unseen force? Creepy.
Ahí se ve claramente como la niña güey se echa de rever, va caminando para atrás y el perro.
In a second clip, uploaded by TerraPhantasmal, did you see it? There looks to be an uninvited, ghostly child at a pool party. What the child is wearing does not seem right for the occasion, and disappears from camera view as the videographer pans back into the scene. There is no context on this video, but to me, that is one creepy ghost child caught on film. Makes me think twice about ever using that pool again.
What are you waving at, Liv? Hmm?